it's kind of weird. This is the only one without windows.
Hello and welcome to another Wildcat football game. Sam, Rogers, Joe Goodrich here at Wildcat Stadium in Durham, New Hampshire as the University of New Hampshire takes on the Bryant University Bulldogs here on a nice fall weather the end of September. It looks like the UNH Wildcats are set to kick off in just a few moments. And before that, Joe Goodrich, there are some players to watch. Who are they on each side?
A bunch of familiar faces for UNH. We got Rory Donovan and Neil O'Connor, both redshirt junior wideouts, who are going to be at the front of the air attack. And then redshirt junior QB Trevor Knight, who is player of the week last week.
And UNH set to kick off as Max Pendoff sends one to the 10-yard line, and Bryant will take the kick and start their drive up to the 32-yard line. Legs on the Bryant side. Who are we going to have to look out for today?
At QB, Price Wilson, a transfer from Louisiana Tech, an FBS school, is going to be at the front of their offense, along with number one, Matt Sewell, who has had 300-yard games in his career for reception yards.
Bryant set in the spread formation at the 32. Here's Price Wilson in his first drive of the afternoon. Quarterback number 14 drops back, has a man. Can't see who the receiver is, but he was absolutely slammed to the ground by Quinlan Dean, the veteran linebacker for UNH. And we have an injured Bryant Bulldog on the first play. Appears to be an offensive lineman as we wait for that injury report to come up. Let's take a look at Bryant's offense. In the 4 games that they played, they're 2-2 with their wins coming against Merrimack in the beginning of the season and Fordham last week for their homecoming. And this team can put up a ton of points. They average 42 points a game as UNH is only averaging – they average 32 points a game as UNH is only averaging 25. But Bryant's defense lets up a lot of points, more than they score. They've let up 42.3 points a game, and UNH's defense has also let up 25 points as well. So it should be a shootout today here as UNH's offense seems to start to click in the past couple of games, including their 28-14 win against Rhode Island last week at UNH's very own homecoming game. And like we've kind of been really wondering what this team can do. I mean, we know that they have the great talent in Trevor Knight. He has a great receiving core. The defense has been proving themselves week by week as they continue to grow as a unit. But what do you think this team's end goal can be? Currently ranked 15th in the nation for the FCS poll. They have the options, they have the weapons, they have the coaching to advance far in the playoffs. Do you think they have what it takes to actually do it?
Yeah, I think this team has the talent to stay in the top 25 for the rest of the season and continue our playoff run. Hopefully we can make it a little further than we had in the past and get out of the semifinals, but I'm confident with this team going into the winter.
And it looks like this injury is serious here as an ambulance is going to be brought onto the turf.
It appears it's freshman running back number 26, Isaac McCray, on the ground.
Isaac McCray is the injured Bulldog. And you hate to see that first play of the game. Wasn't even involved in the play. It was split out to the right blocking. Unfortunately, looks like he got a quick stinger, and it's going to be serious as the EMT units begins to arrive. But as we wait for that injury to get all cleared away, it's a beautiful day for football. Like, it was about 53 degrees at kickoff. Not so much sunshine, but that doesn't really matter when the lights are on here at Wildcat Stadium. And it's been so hot up here in New Hampshire the past couple of days. It's nice to finally start to cool down and get the real fall weather back in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we've had a cold, rainy day today. I'm glad it cleared up, and we have some nice football weather tonight.
Looking at the head coach's tail of the tape, coach for UNH, Sean McDonald, here in his 19th season as the Wildcat head coach with a career of 138 wins and 82 losses. And on the other sideline, Coach James Perry for Bryant, making his debut as a head coach. He is currently 2-2, like I mentioned before, with the Bulldogs. And it's really tough to always find comparisons between teams that are out of conference just because you don't see them play that much. There's not that many similar opponents. But Bryant's a little bit different. They really seem to play UNH as one of their out-of-conference games year to year. And they also have played some CAA teams as well. They play the University of Maine the second game of the season. And I think that the Maine Black Bears were still a little ticked off about their game here in Wildcat Stadium to open up the season because they lost to UNH by a point. But let's not forget that Maine also missed a field goal and an extra point that would have sealed them the victory. And then they go out the following week down. Then they host Bryant, so Bryant goes up to Maine and they beat Bryant 60-12. And then Bryant responds the following week with a loss at Coach James Perry's alma mater, Brown, where they lost 28-23 in a close game there down in Providence. And then they come back and win 45-40 at home against Fordham. So this team, besides the main game, has been playing a lot of close games. Every game they've played, 3 out of the 4, have been one-possession games. So this team definitely can't really leave them out of the game or take them out of the game, expect them to lay down and die, because they definitely have some comebacks this season. They know what it takes to play in a close game. And now this injury seems to be getting a little more serious as both players from Bryant and UNH are taking a knee. And like I said, you really hate to see this, especially the first play of the game.
Yeah, this is awful. A freshman who's been having a good season for the Bryant Bulldogs gets taken down first play. This is going to be a completely different game with him in here.
It's going to be up to Bryce Wilson and his receivers. Looking at those receivers, Tom Kennedy, senior, 5'11", and Jean Consent, the redshirt sophomore, will be the go-to target on the outside. And tight end Joe Finn will also be one of Bryce Wilson's number 1 target. And looking on the defensive side for the Wildcats, last season, true freshmen Pop Lacey and Prince Smith Jr. really led the way in the Wildcats secondary. And this year they've been starting to pick it up and avoid their sophomore slump.
Looks like McCray is walking off the field now. It's a great sight to see.
The EMT is going to be taking the empty stretcher back to the ambulance. So like Leg said, it's really good to see. I think I always introduce you as Joe Goodrich and then just keep going and calling you Legs. If you get confused,
I think people catch it.
Yeah, if you get confused, Joe's nickname is Legs, and that's just my instinct to call him. But we're back to playing football. Bryant Bulldogs in their white road uniforms with gold pants and gold helmets, set up at the 35-yard line, moving from right to left across your screen. Pump fake, play action, screen pass over to the outside for a nice gain of about 4 yards, and it's very close to the first down marker. That throw was to Casey Gunnarsson, the junior wide receiver. Bryant's going to go quickly to the line as they do get the first down. So first down for the Bulldogs. 1st and 10 from their own 42-yard line. Wilson alone in the backfield. 2 men split out to his right, bunch formation on the left. Gets an audible play from the sidelines. Wilson he's going to hand it off to number 26, Isaac McCray, the injured Bulldog. Seems like he would just have a little shake-up as he gets a 3-yard gain to get to the 45-yard line, which will bring up 2nd and 7 here with 13:40 in the first quarter.
Looks like Bryant's trying to pick up the pace in this game and try and chip away at this UNH defense and maybe open it up for a big play later.
Wilson's still receiving signs from the sideline. 2nd and 7. Man in motion, 2 spread out right, 1 spread out to the left. Wilson throws the outside, and it's picked off. The Wildcats pick it off, and that's going to be 6. A pick 6 to start the game for the UNH defense, and that's number 16, Rick Ellison. Makes a great read, jumps the crossing route, and that's an easy 6 points for the Wildcats.
That was just a great read on that square out. He had that from the second that play started.
Wilson really was telegraphing that pass as he had 2 receivers run quick out routes to the sideline. And Rick Ellison was all over that for a 45-yard touchdown return for 6. And here's Max Pendoff for the extra point. Trevor Knight, the holder. Clean hold, kick is up, and that's right through the uprights and over the student section to make it a 7-0 Wildcat lead just 2 minutes into the game. And, man, we had a slow start. A couple plays later, UNH takes one back to the house. So this might be an eventful game for us, Legs.
It's a great way for the defense to start. You know, they've been letting up a few too many points in these past couple games, but looks like the secondary's locked in right now. I don't think Price Wilson's going to have much fun with his team today.
So, like we saw about 2 minutes ago, the UNH kickoff unit will set back to the 35-yard line and give Bryant another chance to start their offensive momentum for the game. UNH rocking some new lids. They have new navy blue matte helmets with a new decal, the alternate logo for the Wildcat football team, but they're still in their traditional navy blue tops and silver bottoms. That's a nice fresh look for a team that really prides themselves on the tradition, especially of the uniforms, color schemes. You really don't see teams these days around campus switch up their uniform colors or the uniform designs. So it's good to see that Coach Mack and the Wildcats are getting a little youthful with their uniform designs.
I love having the numbers on the helmets. It looks so good.
It does look good. The new helmets that has a alternate UNH logo with the helmet number or with the numbers on the other side. Penned off a little squib kick, bounced up to the 10-yard line. Good play by the Bryant receiver. Number 2, Alex Claudio, bounces around to the 22-yard line. And we're going to see more of the same as it's going to be the Wildcat defense against Price Wilson and the Bryant offense for round number 2 early in this game. And flag on the play. It was thrown back by the UNH kickoff unit. It might be offsides, which is rare to see nowadays, is offsides right from the kickoff.
You don't see too many of those. Looks like it was number 31, Nick Lubisher, for the Wildcats in on the tackle.
False start on the kicking team is the call on the field, so we were right. Now Bryant will have a chance to re-kick, and that's exactly what they are going to do. Pendoff and the kickoff unit and Claudio and the Bryant receiving unit back on the field for the 3rd time this game.
I'm excited to see this UNH offense get on the field. I feel like we've been here for 10 minutes now.
Yeah, I'm sure that these guys want to get on the field. We can see in front of us running back Evan Gray and a couple other offensive linemen trying to stay loose and stay warm because they have not seen the field in a while due to the warm-ups and then the national anthem, being in the locker room. So they're definitely a little tense, a little cold, trying to shake that off before they set to touch the field for the first time today. Pendoff goes into the huddle. Claudio is the only man back. He sits at the UNH's 5-yard line. Wildcats have their fists up as they do every kickoff on the sideline. Tradition that Coach Mack brought to the program. Pendoff fires it. Claudio's going to take it at the 5 and bring the ball upfield. Cuts around to the outside, and he just gets met and thrown to the ground. Looked like it was number 38, Morgan Elman.
No, that was 39, Matt
39.
Sherlock. That wasn't
Can't
the
see
kicker
from
making
here,
that
like,
tackle.
yeah, I was going to say, respect for the kicker. But that's a great meet and great wrap there by the Wildcats as Bryant is going to start with the ball at the 27-yard line. Price Wilson, the last drive, had 13 total yards, 2 for 3. That one incompletion being the interception for 6 points. So let's see what Bryant does here. Price Wilson joined in the backfield. 2 men spread out to the left, 1 to the right. Kennedy comes in motion. They flip it to him on a jet sweep. He gets to the outside, fights for 5 yards, and he's driven out of bounds by a host of Wildcat defenders.
As long as this Wildcat defense does what they have these past couple weeks, they should be fine. But earlier in the season, we saw them letting up a couple big plays that really shot themselves in the foot. But I don't think this Bryant offense has the power to get past our secondary right now.
Claudio and Kennedy split out to the left. Wilson barking the orders under center for his offensive lineman. McCray joins him to his left. Receiver comes in motion from right to left, and they're going to fake it to McCray. Pump fake the screen pass, go back to the flat route, and that's going to be a gain of about 6 yards for the first down. That was the big tight end, number 86, Aaron Arai really using his big frame and big body to advance the chains. Bryant once again in the no huddle, receiving singles from the sideline. Price Wilson joined in the backfield by number 43, Tommy Duong. It's another flat screen pass to Claudio. He tries to break a tackle. He eventually gets wrapped up and thrown down at the first down marker. Besides that interception, the Bryant offense has been rolling early, really having no issues of moving the ball downfield. The play calling is really confusing the Wildcats, as Claudio had all the time in the world to really get up there for that 9-yard gain. It's going to be 2nd and 1 right in front of the Wildcat logo on the 50-yard line. Bryant's going to take this snap from their own 48. 3 receivers spread out to the left. McCray in the backfield gets the handoff, and he powers his way across the 50 for the first down. And for the first time tonight, Bryant is in UNH territory.
Yeah, this Bryant team seems pretty fine with taking 3-4-yard shots down the field. Just chipping away at this UNH defense, but looks like they might hold them here at about midfield.
Some new Bulldogs into the game. Ryan Bakey, wide receivers, spread out alone to the left. Wilson is alone in the backfield. 2 men spread out far right. Wilson hands it off to McCray. He's just met right at the line of scrimmage by a host of Wildcats, and he's thrown down for no gain on the play, which will bring up 2nd and 10.
Looks like that last tackle was made by number 71, Ryan Sosnack and friends.
The best type of tackle to make is when your buddies are there with you. Although Bryant is in the no huddle, it seems that they're not in any rush as they really milked down the play clock, 10 seconds to go. So they're really taking about 30, 35 seconds to play. Wilson drops back, has a man open in the flat. That's number 80. Alex Rossman makes his catch. Early on, it looks like Wilson's just really spreading the ball around. He's already thrown it to 5 different receivers, and we're only 9 minutes left in the first quarter.
Here's a big 3rd and 7 for the Wildcats right here. This would be a huge stop for them, keeping them out of field goal range.
3rd and 7 from the 44. 2 spread out to the left. Kennedy comes in motion and makes it doubles on each side of the line. Wilson drops back, looks downfield, and that's an errant throw out of the hands of Kennedy, and that's going to bring up 4th and 6, and it looks like Bryant is electing to punt.
This pass rush has been airtight on Wilson. I hope they can keep it up all game. I think that's why they're going with the no huddle. They want to keep this UNH personnel consistent.
I agree. Number 42, Gavin Rowley, the 6'3" sophomore, set to punt away to Evan Horn, the redshirt freshman, who is back at his own 10-yard line waiting for the punt. Kick is up. Fair catch, no fair catch called. Wow, as Evan Horn tried to fake out the Bryant Bulldogs punt unit as he ran to the right side of the field, acting like he was going to fair catch it, but the ball bounced on the far right side of the field, did not stay, or it stayed in the field of play, stayed out of the end zone, avoiding the touchback. And now UNH's offense, their first time tonight touching the ball, they're going to have to start from their own 1-yard line. A weird move by Evan Horn, as if you're going to try to risk that play, you better fool everyone. And one of the Bryant Bulldogs was not fooled, saw the ball the whole way, and made a great athletic move to keep the ball out of the end zone, giving Trevor Knight in the offense a really tough starting position.
That was perfect coverage by the Bryant punt team there, down in the ball at the 1, basically the 1-inch line on UNH's territory. Looks like we have a timeout on the field.
So now we were talking earlier about this UNH offense being cold on the sideline as the Bryant Bulldogs through the interception. They've already played 2 series, and there was the injury delay. And now they have to start. It looks like it's inside the 1-yard line. So as far back as you can possibly get to start a drive is what Trevor Knight and UNH. So the play calling here is definitely going to be a little bit sensitive as Coach Mack needs to get the ball away from the end zone to avoid a safety or anything worse. It is fall season, which means one thing, and that's the sicknesses. I'm stuffy you right now, so if
I can hear it. I can hear it.
If you hear that, I apologize. That's just what happens when you live in a house with 40 guys. As soon as one person's sick, everybody's sick. It's no good. The UNH plague is no fun.
It isn't, especially when the snow gets on the ground and you got to walk everywhere.
When the snow's on the ground, if you wake up with a stuffy nose, good luck because you're going to class in 20-degree weather with snow up to your ankles.
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a read option out of UNH right here. Trevor Knight and Evan Gray in the backfield is a pretty dangerous combo. And it looks like that's what they're going with.
And for the first time tonight, the Wildcat offense set to begin. Neil O'Connor spread out far to the right side. Evan Gray joins Trevor Knight in the backfield. Trevor Knight in a shotgun snap on this first down attempt from the 1-yard line. Hands it off to Evan Gray. He breaks it out to the left side. Keeps going. Keeps moving the legs. It's going to take a whole host of Bryant Bulldog defenders to slow him down as he brings the ball all the way to the 19-yard line. Good first run there by the redshirt sophomore.
That's good for this UNH offense. That was a tough position to be put in, and to get yourself out to the 20-yard line is huge.
Brandon Gallagher, Neil O'Connor to the right. Trevor Knight's going to throw a fade down the sideline. Neil O'Connor had it. Neil O'Connor all the way on the left side ran a streak right down the sideline, and he reeled it in with one hand. Flag on the play, but it's a clear pass interference on the defense as O'Connor just made another highlight reel catch as we watch the replay here on the booth. Can't see if he got the foot in. Neil O'Connor, no stranger from making these crazy catches. He was number 1 on SportsCenter last season for his catch in the playoff game against Colgate.
He really is the Swiss Army knife of this offense.
He is.
They trust him with everything.
Neil O'Connor, a former high school quarterback, came to UNH not really knowing what role he's going to have on this team. Is he going to be more of a specialty guy on special teams? But he's found himself as Trevor Knight's number 1 target and the number 1 receiver on this team. And that catch is confirmed. It is good. Then that brings the UNH Wildcats up to the 49-yard line. And in 2 plays, they go 48 yards, and it looks like they're not stopping. They're right up to the ball. 2 men split out left and right. Evan Gray in the backfield. Knight's going to hand it off to Gray, who will run for 5 yards, bringing up a 2nd and 5 from the Bryant Bulldogs 45-yard line.
This Wildcats offensive line is getting an awesome push on Bryant right now.
C.J. Turner replaces Brandon Gallagher as a wideout. Him and O'Connor split out to the right. The big 6'5" frame, Rory Donovan alone to the left as Evan Gray and Justin Malone Woods in the backfield. Knight drops back, scrambles, has a seam off the pocket, still looks to throw. He does. He has a man downfield. It's O'Connor. That's another pass interference on O'Connor as Trevor Knight clearly underthrew him on the back shoulder fade, but that was no matter because O'Connor for the 2nd play in a row is interfered with. And that's got to be a compliment to O'Connor in this Wildcat passing attack, that if you're going to cover him that seriously and really be all over his jersey and all over his shoulder, it must mean that you're afraid of number 82 in navy blue.
Why wouldn't you be afraid? He's had, 5 touchdowns this year?
He leads the Wildcats in touchdowns with 5.
I think he had that catch also if there wasn't
he definitely could have had a play on it if he wasn't tugged to the ground almost.
That ball should be at the 10-yard line rather than the 30.
NCAA rules only can go 15 yards, not at the spot of the foul like the NFL. So UNH, 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Same formation, 2 men split out left, 2 men split out right. Evan Gray gets the handoff in the backfield. He has a speed. He cuts to the outside. He's at the 20, the 15, throws the man to the ground, and he is out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Evan Gray, only a sophomore, running like a grown man right now, as he's already thrown about 3 Bulldog defenders to the ground and his 2 carries.
That was a great block by number 7, C.J. Turner, on the second level, taking out a corner and a linebacker. Gray just bounced off his butt and took it to the outside.
No reason to slow down. Trevor Knight gets a snap on 1st and goal. Has a man. Oh, he had Justin Malone Woods in the slant. Great pass break up there by the Bulldogs. Donald Goodrich replaces Evan Gray for the 2nd down play. It's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 12-yard line. Gallagher comes in. Coach Mack giving the signs.
Looks like we have trips out left with Rory Donovan and Neil O'Connor on the outside.
Gallagher, the 3rd member of the trip, as Goodrich hangs out with Trevor Knight in the backfield. Trevor Knight's going to pull it, take it himself, and he just tripped over his own feet. And that's going to be a loss of a yard, as that will bring up 3rd and 11 from the 13-yard line. Trevor Knight really didn't have that much room to run, but definitely could have made an athletic play to gain at least a few yards. Instead, he tripped on the turf, giving a long 3rd down trot.
The Bryant defense was expecting that one. I think they really had that covered perfectly.
Trips to the left. Rory Donovan alone on the right. Justin Malone Woods changes that as he shuffles over in motion to the right side. Trevor Knight fires it to he's trying to get it to Justin Malone Woods, but he was well covered by number 4, Torrey Dixon, for Bryant, and that's going to bring in the field goal unit. Trevor Knight really forcing in that touchdown attempt pass to Malone Woods.
Looks like UNH is trying to take advantage of some of these height mismatches out at wide receiver. Rory Donovan, obviously 6'5", is going to be taller than any corner you put out there, but Justin Malone Woods is standing at 6'2", and he's being guarded by number 4, Torrey Dixon, who is 5'10". So looks like the Wildcats are trying to use size to their advantage today.
And Max Pendoff sends that ball right through the uprights. That's a 10-0 Wildcat lead over Bryant with 6:33 remaining in the first quarter.
Tell you, the Wildcats offense looked good there.
They did. I think just once they got into the red zone, Trevor Knight was really trying to force some passes that he shouldn't have, and that came to cost them as they were not able to put 6 on the board. But with a 10-0 lead, almost a little more than halfway through the first quarter, you really can't complain. As right now on the Jumbotron, they're showing the picture of Wildcat Stadium last week at homecoming, which broke the UNH football home attendance record of 22,000 people were on hand to watch the University of Rhode Island battle the University of New Hampshire. And there was probably about 20 more thousand people at the tailgate on Boulder Field.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hot day a week ago. Felt like it was the middle of July.
I'm liking that. I'm liking that late hot weather, though.
Yeah, really just I feel that when we got here to school this year, it was not as warm as I expected, but the past couple of days has been very warm.
I tell you, Evan Gray looked like a man on a mission on that last drive. He was really getting downfield fast, and he was running powerfully.
Evan Gray, really a hard-nosed running back, puts his head down, doesn't care who's in the way. He doesn't have a great foot speed or agility, but, man, he's as powerful as a running back as you'll see. As his 3 rushes on that last drive were good for 42 yards. Trevor Knight 1 for 3 with that one completion to Neil O'Connor, who reeled it in with one hand. That was good for 30 yards. Bryce Wilson 5 for 7 through 2 drives, 26 yards. And Tom Kennedy, the leading receiver, 2 receptions for 10 yards for the Bulldogs. Bryce Wilson and the Bulldog offense is going to get their 3rd crack at the UNH defense as they now have a 10-0 deficit. They've been working the ball well downfield. They just really haven't had that big play to set themselves up in good field position and a good scoring position. So we'll see if they decide to change up the offensive strategy. They've been throwing the ball to the flats, shorter passes, trying to get their quarterback comfortable. But that's not going to be enough to get through this Wildcat secondary. You have to try to take some shots on the field, and we'll see if Coach James Perry elects to do it starting right now. Pendoff set to fire away to Alex Claudio, who receives it at his own 3-yard line. Brings it up to the 10, the 15, now the 20, gets to the outside, and he is helicopter thrown to the ground. He's still spinning on the ground by the Wildcat defender. So Bryant, will begin their drive at the 24-yard line. And this is a big drive for Bryant because if you go 3 and out or maybe get 1 or 2 first downs, but if you give the ball back to UNH and they score again, you're looking at a potential 13 to 17-point deficit still in the first quarter. So if all else fails here, you have to get the ball as far away from your own end zone as possible.
I think this is all on their offensive line. They need to give their QB a little more time if they want to take a hack downfield.
2 men split out left, 1 to the right. Price Wilson elects to hand it off to Isaac McCray, who barrels his way for the first down. They're going to move the chains. Bryant has the ball on first down at the 33-yard line. 2 men split out to the left. It's Kennedy and Ire. Claudio alone on the right as McCray joins Price Wilson in the backfield. Man in motion outside to the right. Price Wilson drops back, quickly throws the ball, but that's batted at the line. Good play there by the defensive line. They were blitzing, brought pressure, forcing Price Wilson to release the ball sooner than he expected. But that's big, number 71, Ryan Sosnak with the SWAT team.
That was number 94, Riley Emerson, in on the hit. Looks like we're going to see a lot of hits on the QB today.
2nd and 10 from the 33. 2 men split out to the left. Claudio, the lone man, to the right. Wilson gets it, drops back, fires it across the middle, and that is not – goes in and out of the hands of Tom Kennedy as he was popped by Pop. Pop Lacey really getting his name in on the broadcast early. Makes a great defensive play as he stripped the ball out of Kennedy's hands through the hit to the body. Now it's another big test for this Bryant offense early on in the game. 5:44 remaining in the quarter. 3rd and 10 from their own 33-yard line. Tom Kennedy split out to the right with Alex Claudio. 2 men split out to the left. And a timeout taken by James Perry and the Bulldogs. Early on in this game, we've seen that Wilson can handle the short throws, the end routes, the flats. But when he's throwing the ball over the middle, it's really been risky. He's already had that 1 interception, but that last throw to Kennedy is a tight window with a lot of Wildcat defenders around. So that's going to be an interesting thing to look at, is if they're going to change the offensive passing attack.
Yeah,
as this game progresses.
You really sailed that last pass, and you're not going to fool Pop Lacey with that. He's going to come across and hit your receiver and knock the ball out every time. But that's what Bryant needs, is those deep plays right now, because chipping away isn't going to work the whole game.
And they need a big play right now, as it's 3rd and 10 from their own 33-yard line. And you cannot give the ball back to UNH as you already trail 10-0 early in the first quarter. Usual formation, 2 men split out to the left and to the right. McCray and Wilson in the backfield. Wilson's going to drop back, has time to throw, fires downfield to absolutely nobody. Tom Kennedy and Price Wilson on completely different pages as UNH is set to take the punt.
Yeah, just a bad miscommunication there, but even if he put it on target, I don't think he had it. That receiver was swarmed by about 3 Wildcats.
UNH secondary doing a good job in coverage early on as Gavin Rowley's set to kick off to Evan Horn. Horn stands at the Wildcat 30-yard line. Punt is in the air. Horn elects to fair catch, and he does at the 30, and that's where the Wildcat offense will start. Better field position this time, as the Wildcats' last drive started right on their own end zone at the 1-yard line. Trevor Knight was about 5 yards deep in the end zone on that first play, so now they have some more breathing room to work with. Let's see what they go with here. Evan Gray, like we mentioned earlier, has been powerful in the running game so far, running like a grown man. But Trevor Knight, I think he notices it. I can tell from here that these receivers are going to have a field day on Bryant's secondary. It's just going to be on Trevor Knight to make the throws. First play, they're going to stick to Gray. A handoff outside. That was not Evan Gray. That's number 42, the third running back on the Wildcat depth chart. Deontay Chapman, the freshman, he had 100 yards rushing in one quarter. And the Wildcat lost to Holy Cross 2 weeks ago. Had 109 yards rushing in the fourth quarter as UNH was blown out 52-21 in Worcester, Massachusetts. Trips to the left for Trevor Knight as he drops back, has time to throw, and he does. He finds Rory Donovan, who gets tripped up at the Wildcat to send another first down for the Wildcat offense.
I'd like to see Donovan have a big game today. He's a real mismatch on all these corners for Bryant.
Donovan gets the ball to the 48-yard line of the Wildcats. Him and Neil O'Connor split out to the right. Trevor Knight takes a snap. It's going to be a handoff to Gray. Tries to bounce around the outside, cuts it up the middle. He keeps going. And another hard-fought run by Evan Gray gets another first down for the Wildcats. And, man, this offense is rolling. They move the ball to the 40-yard line of the Bulldogs.
Again, Evan Gray getting downfield or doing a sweep and then just turning his shoulders and running downhill. That's going to happen all day.
Two men split out to the left, two to the right. First and 10 from the 40-yard line. Trevor Knight goes to throw, fakes the screen pass. He's going to get rushed out of the pocket, uses his speed to avoid the tackle, creates time, and he's going to rush it himself for a gain of 9. Great play there by Trevor Knight to use his athleticism to avoid the pressure and escape out of the pocket for a 9-yard run, which will bring up 2nd and 1 from the 31.
What I'd love to see there is Trevor Knight had his eyes downfield the whole time. He wasn't just ducking his head and running it. He was really looking for a receiver there.
Trevor Knight's speed really bails him out of those pocket collapsing situations. We've seen that time and time again last year and this year. They're going to give it to Gray, who easily gets the first down, bounces on the outside of the 20, the 15, the 10, and he's going to dive in for a touchdown. Evan Gray, what a game this young man is having early on. He takes that 31 yards to the house for his 5th rushing attempt. He's going to have 84 yards on the ground with 3:30 remaining in the game. The Wildcats are up 16-0. And something Coach Mack and the Wildcats love to do is have bizarre extra point situations. As we have about 4 linemen split way out to the left. Donald Goodrich and another Wildcat split out to the right. They don't like what they see. And Pendoff is just going to go for your standard extra point. Trevor Knight, the holder. And that kick is good.
Another boot by Pendoff. Sailing over the student section.
And that will make it 17-0. The Wildcats on top.
Evan Gray really looks like he's on the top of his game today, which is good because as long as we can keep that UNH offense off the field and keep them well rested, we'll be able to do whatever we want all game.
No media timeout here. As the Wildcat kicking unit and the Bulldog receiving unit getting really acquainted with themselves early on. The 4th time that these units have matched on the field early in this game. We see the backup quarterbacks for the Wildcats. Number 5, Christian Lupi. getting warmed up as he can kind of sense that he might see some time today with an early 17-0 lead for his home team.
Yeah, I think UNH will be able to stretch in deep into the depth chart pretty much across the board.
Which is going to be good for the younger guys who don't really see that much action in big games, but if they're called on to help out, they'll have some playing experience. Pendoff's a little boot to the 20-yard line. That's going to be received by the Bryant Bulldogs, and they're going to start their drive at the 28-yard line.
So we saw the Bryant offense open up a little and start to take hacks downfield. I wonder if they'll go back to that or play it conservative and do a little read option in those short passing routes like they did first drive.
I think if you're down 17-0, you got to start taking shots to have any chance of getting back in this ball game. Bryce Wilson set to take the first down snap. He's going to hand it up, fakes the handoff to McCray, and that ball is swatted on the defensive line. Number 72, Rick Holt, the 6'4" senior, using all 6'4" of him to make that play. As that's going to bring up 2nd and 10 from the 28-yard line. Bryce Wilson, that's the second ball batted down by the UNH front line. Really getting all over the Bulldog offensive line. Trips out to the right, lone man to the left. As McCray's going to get the handoff, and he's going to have some time to run, and he finds the hole and delivers as he brings the ball up to midfield for a big and much-needed first down run for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, this UNH defensive line, a lot of veterans, mostly redshirt juniors, but they had a little breakdown in the middle there, and Bryant was able to catch the big break.
Now the Bulldogs will start off at the 50-yard line. Bryce Wilson directing the troops. Two men split out to the right. Motion. Wilson's going to roll out to the right. Under trouble. He has to throw the ball away. Man, he's lucky that wasn't intercepted. Good pressure there by the Wildcats. Looks like that was Quinlan Dean with the near sack, forcing Wilson to just throw the ball to the sideline, bringing up 2nd and 10 from the 50-yard line. Kennedy motions to the right side to have trips on the right. Lone man on the left for Wilson. Gets a snap, quick throw out, and Kennedy thrown right at his feet, has no shot to make a play on it. And if you're Bryce Wilson, that's a throw you have to make. No pressure, your standard pass to a guy in the flats, and he just puts it right at his toes. Bryant quickly to the line as UNH was caught substituting. And look at this formation. The offensive line for Bryant is split into two. They have 4 guys on the left, 4 guys on the right side, 2 receivers split in a stacked formation far left. Wilson's going to get thrown. It's an obvious screen pass, and that's going to be McCray. Works his way up to the 25-yard line. If you're UNH, how do you not see that they're going with a screen pass? With a bizarre formation like that, UNH sent the house, and a good play call there by Bryant, and Bryce Wilson just able to find the open receiver, and all McCray had to do was just turn around and go.
It's the perfect time to use that formation, pulling the D-line away from McCray.
Bryant will slow things up a little bit as they near the red zone for the first time tonight. 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. 2 men split out to the right. Wilson to throw. Has a guy wide open. And they're going to wrestle around. It looks like he got the forward progress to the 20-yard line. That was thrown to number 41, Pat Dunner, the senior tight end.
A few miscues this drive for the UNH defense. Not up to the same caliber that they were the first few drives.
That play was good for 6 yards, bringing up a 2nd and 4 from the 20-yard line. 2 men split out to the right, 1 to the left. Wilson in the shotgun formation. He's going to throw across the flat to Kennedy, who barrels his way down. And that's going to be close to the first down marker. They're not going to give it to him. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 1 from the 18-yard line. Excuse me, not the 18-yard line, the 13-yard line. Wrong side of the line, legs, my bad. 2 men split out to the left. Wilson's going to call an audible at the line of scrimmage. Play action, has a man right at the flat. He gets blown up. The pass was completed, but number 4, DeAndre Drummond-Rain, the captain of the defense, just really put a hurting down on that Bryant Bulldog receiver. The catch was completed to Ken Blasser, number 82, who seems to be shaken up on the play. And Bryant's going to call a timeout as they have a first down attempt on the UNH's 15-yard line. And they're going to let the clock run out of the first quarter. At the end of one, it's 17-0 UNH, but Bryant, first down on the 15-yard line of UNH, threatening to put some points on the board. And we'll be right back for the start of the second quarter between UNH and Bryant. And we're back for the second quarter action between the University of New Hampshire and the Bryant University in a 17-0 hole. Bryant threatening to get points on the board and try to chip away at this lead for the Wildcats. Bryce Wilson and the offense set to face first down from the 15-yard line of UNH's. Two men split out to the left. as they're going to throw a screen pass now. Just way over the head of Alex Claudia. The man in motion went behind Wilson, and that ball wasn't even close to Claudio's hands. As Bryce Wilson's really showed some struggles in these short passes that he needs to have completions in to give his offense some sort of positive yardage. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10 from the 15-yard line. Motion man in the left causes trips. They fire again to the flat, and Wilson overthrows him. That pass was intended for Isaac McCray, also the man in motion.
I think Wilson's getting rushed every play he's out there. He's making the passes a little faster than he wants to, resulting in a few overthrows.
Wilson's errant throws are due to the Wildcat defensive line. That's been doing a great job pressuring the quarterback. 3rd and 10, and a near, I would almost say, a must-score drive for the Bryant Bulldogs. Down 17-0, UNH defense, and in particular, Evan Gray is red hot.
Mm-hmm.
And you do not want to give them the ball back with no points on the board. Wilson was alone in the backfield, and they're going to call a timeout. James, how important this drive and especially this play is for the rest of the game. So they're going to talk it over. And Legs, what play do you run here? You had 2 passes back-to-back, overthrown screens to the flat. And now, Wilson's really shown that he's struggling with those type of throws. And he also has been struggling with throws downfield in the middle of the field. And especially with UNH's talented secondary, they were doing a good job of blocking the receivers down the field.
Yeah, I think they called the timeout here because they saw the blitz coming from the linebackers of UNH. Good call by Bryant. I don't think he would have gotten that pass off. But here I'd probably go with a pass to the weak side of the field. Pop Lacey's really been everywhere, and you kind of want to avoid him if you're going to take a shot at least 10 yards down the field.
3rd and 10 from the 15. A Bryant drive that began at their own 28. Trips split out to the left. One man to the right. Wilson is alone in the backfield, and you can clearly see that UNH is going to bring some pressure. They blitz. Screen pass is completely eaten up. And the captain, again, makes another big hit. DeAndre Drummond, Maine, comes from his cornerback position to lay down the blow. And that's going to force the Bulldogs to settle for a field goal. A great defensive stop, as in 3 plays, Bryant lost a yard.
Looks like Bryant decided to make a change during the timeout. UNH went with the same look, and it works out perfectly.
Gavin Rowley on to attempt a 25-yard field goal. Kick is up, and it's right through the uprights, and Bryant's on the board, 17-3. As the drive that began at their own 28-yard line did not come up empty-handed. They would have loved the touchdown for 6, but they'll settle with the 3. And now the Wildcats get the ball back, and the Bulldogs desperately need a stop, and they need to solve the red-hot Evan Gray and the Wildcat offense.
You think UNH is going to go deep down the field again, or are they going to play it safe and just hand the ball to Gray here?
I think it's going to be a good mix. Obviously, start off the drive with Evan Gray to get better field position. But once you do, we've been seeing it all night. Rory Donovan and Neil O'Connor are going to have the matchup every single play this game. They're going to have some sort of advantage. So you're a fool if you don't trust your receivers who have been doing it for so long. Gavin Rowley does it all for the Bulldogs. Punt, place kicks, field goal kicker. As he's set to take this kick, and it's going to be the first time that Bryant kicks off of the night.
C.J. Turner and Pop Lacey back receiving for the Wildcats right now. Oh, that's not Pop Lacey.
And the kick is up. Returned at the Wildcat 10-yard line. Looks like that was number 7. C.J. Turner. Turner got the ball at the 10-yard line, brings it all the way up to the 28. So now Trevor Knight, for the third time, will have his chance to put points on the board. Mean Legs just kind of talked about it. Do they stick with the running game, or do they try to take a shot deep?
If I'm Coach Mack here, I slow it down and I try and have my defense stay on the sideline for a while and get a little rest.
Let's see what they elect to do. Two receivers spread out to the right, and it looks like they do want to slow it down as they hand it off to Donald Goodrich, who is absolutely stuffed for a gain of 3, but it looked like he got thrown about 5 yards back to the line of scrimmage, but the forward progress will be a positive gain, bringing up 2nd and 7 from the 31-yard line. Wildcats getting set. Donovan, the lone man, to the left. O'Connor, the lone man, to the right. Goodrich and Knight in the backfield. Knight looks to throw. Has nowhere to go. Was looking deep downfield. Still looking downfield. Is going to throw it. And that's just thrown to the ground. Flag on the play. As Trevor Knight really had no one to throw to. It was single coverage all around the board. Good one-on-one coverage by the Bulldogs, as it's no easy task to guard the 6'5" frame Rory Donovan and the speedy, shifty receiver in Neil O'Connor.
Let's see what the call is here.
It's bringing up 3rd and 7 at the moment with the flag on the field.
On the offense, number 85. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Is that pass interference?
Looks like an illegal contact penalty on the offense. The penalty is declined, bringing up 3rd and 7.
Justin Malone was responsible for the illegal contact. Bryant decides to decline it, so instead of it being 2nd and 15, it'll just be 3rd and 7. 2nd and 12, excuse me. Bad math. That was actually really bad math. Trip spread out to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Trevor Knight is alone in the backfield. He gets the low snap, has time to throw. Throws a deep downfield of Justin Malone once, and he dives and can't make the catch. Great coverage there by the Bryant Bulldogs. A great ball by Trevor Knight. The only place he could put it was a little out front of Malone Woods' reach and try to have him dive for the catch, and he could not do it. And that's going to force the Wildcats to punt for the first time tonight.
Once Knight is able to connect with Woods in this game, that's going to be pretty dangerous having Woods, O'Connor, and Donovan out there. I don't think that Bryant's going to be able to cover all 3 of them.
John Consent set to receive the Max Pendoff punt. A lot of confusion there as there was a fair catch call, but it looks like it bounced off a Wildcat helmet. The ball was down at the 12-yard line.
I believe it's a 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, though. So Bryant looks like they're getting the ball at the Bryant 42-yard line.
The referees discussing the flag on the field.
Kicking team.
Yep, it's going to be interference on the Wildcats. That will be a 5-yard gain for the Bulldogs. Looks like a little more than 5 yards.
It's a 15-yard penalty.
15-yard penalty, not a 5-yard penalty, which will move the Bulldogs into Wildcat territory. They'll start this drive from the UNH 48-yard line. Bryant in there. Classic. 2 receivers split out to the left and to the right. UNH is going to take a timeout to talk things over.
It's a big mistake by the UNH receiving team there.
Media timeout, excuse me.
It's the first time Bryant's starting with the ball in UNH territory, and they've been pretty successful with their drives, bringing the ball downfield, they certainly can bring it 48 yards compared to what they've been doing tonight.
They've been doing a good job of bringing the ball. Every time I feel like the average starting position for the Bulldogs has been around the 25-yard line, and they've done a good job driving it downfield to the red zone. Well, they just can't get those final couple plays to string together for the score.
You saw Bryant use some trickery in their last drive, and it actually was pretty helpful.
Very successful. So who knows what we'll see, because Bryce Wilson is struggling. 11 for 21, 69 yards through the air, that one interception. Isaac McCray take away that one long screen run on the last drive, and he's really not helping out the cause. And really, Price has not selected his number one receiver so far this game. He's thrown to 8 different guys. Tom Kennedy has the most receptions with 3. But Wilson has been struggling, overthrowing, underthrowing, forcing balls into coverages that he shouldn't be doing.
Not many hopeful matchups for the Bryant Bulldogs at the wide receiver position today.
And after the media timeout, the teams are back on the field ready to begin Bryant's first drive of the second quarter. 13:03 remaining in the first half, 17-3 Wildcats. This drive is going to start from the 47-yard line. Price, Wilson, and Claudio in the backfield. 2 receivers split out to the left and the right. Wilson fires, and that ball is almost picked off by Prince Smith Jr. Ball was incomplete, bringing up 2nd and 10 from the 47.
Again, you saw there that play took about maybe a second and a half. Wilson's really trying to get the ball out of there as soon as he can.
Same formation with McCray in the backfield. And Wilson's going to find Kennedy for a positive gain. That'll bring up 3rd and 4 as Bryant cannot afford a 3-and-out here. Number 88, Josh Gieber. Lone man to the right, trips to the left. McCray in the backfield with Wilson. 15 seconds on the play clock. Kennedy comes in motion to the right side. Wilson drops back, has time to throw. He has his man. And that was Giebing again. Wilson tried to throw to him early on the drive. Pass was incomplete. He connects with him there. As now the Bulldogs are looking to threaten to score. As they are on the Wildcat 24-yard line.
This Wildcat secondary is really starting off the line of scrimmage about 7 or 8 yards back.
Man in motion. It's a jet sweep to Kennedy. Takes it on the right side. Gets a block, and he will move that ball across the 20-yard line up to the 18. Which will bring up a 2nd and 4. Bryant has shown some glimpses of offensive production. Has been able to string 4 to 5 plays together for positive yardages, but then they seem to get stuck. McCray takes a handoff up the middle, right down to the first down marker. It's going to depend on the spot. And they're going to give it to him. Another first down for the Bulldogs, and they're starting to heat up. As now it's going to be 1st and 10 from the Wildcat 14-yard line. We watched the Bryant Bulldogs a few moments ago go 3-and-out and settle for a field goal from this very position. Let's see if they learned from their mistakes, regrouped, and got different play calls.
Got a new running back in the game for Bryant, number 30, Brendan Famiano.
And he takes this ball and spins once, spins twice, and brings it all the way up to the 5-yard line. And that was a spark that Bryant needed to get him over the hump of being in the red zone. As now the Bulldogs are very threatening to score. Second one from the 5-yard line. Claudio's going to be the only man out to the left. Bryce Wilson in a rare huddle. They've been going no huddle all night. 2 men in the backfield with Wilson. And Wilson's going to keep it. He has the lane against the end zone. He stretches out the arm, and he's in. Bryce Wilson uses the legs, or Tom Kennedy, uses the legs, extends the ball across the plane, and that's going to be the first touchdown of the afternoon for the Bulldogs, which will make the game 17-9 with 10 minutes left in the first half. Good extra effort of really letting your body on the line and reaching across the goal line.
Again, we saw Bryant successful with the trickery, sending McCray in motion out to the right before the play, and then doing the Wildcat run to the left side.
Tom Kennedy with his first rush of the game, 5 yards and the touchdown. And after a 17-0 start, the Bulldogs have put up 10 unanswered. And now it's 17-10. The offense, who has looked a little shaky in their last 2 drives, needs to come out and put some points on the board because the momentum has shifted into the Bulldogs' favor.
That Wildcats defensive line that was playing so stellar earlier looked like they were a little tired this drive. I think that no huddle was getting to them.
And there's going to be a media timeout on the field. And once that comes back in, we'll be right back. And we're back. 10 minutes remaining in the first half, 17-10. After the Tom Kennedy 5-yard touchdown run, the Bryant Bulldogs are right back in the game. Sam Rogers, Joe Goodrich, here live on YouTube.
That Bryant offense looked like they had a little more juice than the UNH defense on that last drive. I think it's a good decision that they're sticking with the no huddle.
Gavin Rowley set to kick off from the 35-yard line. Short kick will be fielded at the 12. CJ Turner bouncing around, brings the ball all the way up to the 35-yard line. Good return, and that will give Trevor Knight and the offense decent field position as they kept the ball for the second time in the quarter.
Hopefully we can get back to the UNH offense can get back to what they did earlier and start taking shots down the field, because 7 points is not what you want this deficit to be.
A storyline we haven't talked about so far is number 1, Malik Love has not been in the game. We can see him right now. He's in pads on the sideline. Was just in the offensive huddle, but his helmet's off. He hasn't entered the game. We don't know if that was a injury or he's being held out for whatever reason. First play from scrimmage, Trevor Knight's going to do a little pitch out to C.J. Turner, who gets another positive gain for the first down. Brings the ball all the way up to the 45-yard line. Knight and Gray in the backfield with Turner, Donovan, and Malone Woods on the right. O'Connor alone spread out to the left. Knight drops back to throw, has time. The ball gets swatted. Ball hangs up in the air. Thankfully, it was not intercepted. Trevor Knight's pass was swatted in the air, had about 4. It seemed like it was up there forever.
That was a dangerous play right there. Good job by number 91 of Bryant, Dylan Guthrow.
O'Connor, Turner, and Donovan. Trips to the right, Gray in the backfield of Knight. Turner comes in motion. Trevor Knight drops back, fires down the field. He has Justin Malone Woods. Makes a nice cut. He might be gone. He's at the 20, the 15, and finally gets carried at the 10-yard line. Justin Malone Woods, the big body, showing off the speed and athleticism as the one hesitation move separated him and got him about 15 extra yards. And just like that, the Wildcats are in the red zone. That will bring up 1st and goal from the 9-yard line.
There was that one connection we were waiting for from Knight to Malone Woods. That'll really open up this run game.
Donovan and O'Connor, the only receivers, spread out, one on either side. Trevor Knight elects to hand it off to Evan Gray, who pulls his way up for a few-yard gain, bringing up 2nd and goal from the 6-yard line. This is really where you like to have the big guy in Rory Donovan. He's spread out to the left with Brandon Gallagher. Trevor Knight has time to throw. He has Malone Woods caught. That's a touchdown, but there's a flag on the field.
Looks like this one might be on Bryant.
Good ball by Trevor Knight. Put it right in Justin Malone's hands on the goal line. Illegal formation on the offense. That touchdown is no good.
Looks like these teams are both sticking to their plans early. Bryant's trying to use their running back, Isaac McCray, as kind of a distraction on offense, sending him to the opposite side of the field. And UNH is really just sticking to their size, trying to hit Rory Donovan and Malone Woods against these small Bryant corners.
So that's going to be a replay of 2nd down. Now it's 2nd and 11. Or 2nd and goal, from the 11-yard line. Trevor Knight was using his legs to break free, had C.J. Turner open in the flats, and looked like Bryce Wilson there and just completely overthrew him, which will bring up a long 3rd and 11 try. And this would be an impressive stand for the Bryant Bulldog defense if they can get out of here with just a field goal attempt. Number 19 for the Wildcats, Nick Lorden, making his debut for the night. Malone Woods and Donovan, the big bodies on the left side.
Wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Malone Woods here.
Trevor Knight rolls that way. He's looking in the end zone. He has a guy open. Good ball, and that's not an interception, that's a completion right down to the goal line. It's going to be 3rd and inches. That was thrown to Neil O'Connor. Rory Donovan, excuse me.
Good play by Knight there, seeing that there was nothing on the left side and redirecting all his receivers to the right side.
4th and goal from the line.
4th and goal from the 1-yard line. The offense is still going to be on the field. We have Donovan and O'Connor, Gallagher on the left side, Trevor Knight and Evan Gray in the backfield. Knight's going to hand it off to Evan Gray. Is it enough to get in? It is! Evan Gray, for the second time tonight, finds his way into the end zone. That makes the game 23-10, and the Wildcats get a much-needed touchdown as the momentum comes back over to the home team's favor.
Great drive for the Wildcats there, eating up the clock and keeping their defense on the sideline.
Trevor Knight only has 4 completions on the day, but that's for 96 yards. And Evan Gray just capped off that well-executed drive with his 7th carry for 89 yards, and he has 2 touchdowns.
Extra point is good by kicker Morgan Eltman.
Now make the score 24-10 with 7:18 remaining in the first half. And if you're a fantasy owner, Evan Gray would have been an awesome guy to have today.
I think we all knew it was going to him on that play.
Oh, yeah, you have to expect that. I think the whole defensive line of Bryant did. They just couldn't stop it. Because Evan Gray is too big, too strong, and he had one purpose, and that was to get in the end zone, and no one's going to deny him.
Let's see if this UNH defense can get back to their form at the beginning of the game and put some pressure on the quarterback here.
We see the Bryant Bulldogs have the ability to drive down the field and score. And we said last drive was a much-needed touchdown or much-needed point for drives. But now, down 14, 7 minutes left, you got to think that this is another drive where the Bulldogs need to see some points as they try to get the ball out of the Wildcats' hand.
Don't forget that UNH gets the ball at halftime.
That's right. That's another thing to keep in mind. You can't, if you're Bryant, you can't let UNH score for the rest of the quarter and then have them get the ball back. Immediate timeout here on the field as the Wildcat kickoff unit and Bryant receiving unit gets ready for their 5th meeting tonight. UNH band doing its best to fire up the home crowd. UNH set to kick off, moving from right to left across the screen. Morgan Elman set to kick this one off as Alex Claudio, the lone man to receive, standing at the 3-yard line. And the kick is up in the air. Claudio will have time. He receives it just outside of the 10-yard line as he gets tripped up at the 21. And that's where the Bulldogs will begin their second drive of the quarter. And Bryce Wilson is only 14 of 25, 98 yards and an interception. He needs to have a convincing drive to give not only himself but the whole offense and the whole team confidence moving forward, as we've seen him underthrow, overthrow, and just completely miss receivers. And guys like Isaac McCray not helping out the cause in the backfield, only 4 attempts for 35 yards. Bryant comes out, 2 men split to the right, 1 man split to the left. McCray in the backfield with Wilson. They're going to hand it to McCray, who gets brought down for a loss of 2, and second down will start at the 20-yard line for Bryant. Good read there by the Wildcat defense, really smothering McCray.
I think this UNH defense is going to start focusing on him. That was their pitfall in the last drive because they focused on him too much and lost on the Wildcat play.
Two men split out left, two men split out right. And another dangerous pass there for Bryce Wilson as he attempted a throw to Alex Claudio. And number 6 for the Wildcats, Marquise Carr, almost broke it up in an interception. Injured Wildcat on the field.
Looks like it's number 71, Ryan Sosnak, the D tackle.
Sosnak and the entire defensive line have been playing great all game, forcing Wilson to make errant throws, really speeding up his thinking process. And that'd be a tough loss if he's unable to return. 6'2" junior, able to walk off the field on his own power.
That's good to see.
So for all intents and purposes, we hope to see Sosnak back on the field soon. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 12 from the 20-yard line. Bryant has to get to the 32.
Looks like the Wildcats have brought out a couple extra defensive backs for this play.
They show a blitz, but they back off. 2 receivers split out to the left and right. Wilson drops back. Throws it high to Tom Kennedy. Another bad throw there by Wilson as Kennedy had to elevate, use all inch of his vertical to handle that.
I don't know what he thought Wilson was going to do there. He had 2 Wildcats closing in on him pretty fast, and he was nowhere near the first down marker.
And here's Gavin Rowley, set to punt for the third time tonight. That's going to be returned by Evan Hull, who brings the ball up to about the 47-yard line as Trevor Knight and the offense looks to score one more time before the half. 5:52 remaining in the second quarter, 24-10 Wildcats. Sam Rogers, Joe Goodrich. Joe Goodrich making his debut on the broadcast. How's it feel so far?
It's nice up here.
It is
warm
nice.
In the booth.
Brand new press box here at Wildcat Stadium. Really beats the fold-up table that we've had in years past.
Gotta love the free snacks also.
Also, you gotta love the free snacks. That's right. 2 receivers split out to the left. Rory Donovan, the lone man, to the right. Trevor Knight, pump fakes, looks deep. Has O'Connor wide open, right to him. And that's a Wildcat touchdown. Neil O'Connor for a 52-yard bomb. An easy 6 points for the Wildcats as he was untouched for the last 30 yards of that route. Easy recognition by Trevor Knight, and that's another touchdown connection between Knight and O'Connor to make the score 30-10. Wildcats in the lead.
I was watching the other receiver, Donovan, on that play. He had his man beat on the right side of the field also.
We've been saying that the Wildcat receivers have been having advantages all night long, and we saw that firsthand as Pendoff's kick is through the uprights as the score now moves to 31-10 in favor of the blue and white.
We can pretty much expect one of those touchdowns out of Neil O'Connor almost every game now. It seems like he's always the one open downfield.
He's a short slot receiver, but don't be fooled. He has some big-time speed, and especially that breakaway speed, as we saw, where if you let him get a step, he'll burn into the house. He's done it. He did it on opening night here at Wildcat Stadium, and he's done it in other games last year and this year, and we just saw firsthand how much of a dangerous weapon he actually is.
You mentioned his speed, but I think his greatest attribute is his hands. We very rarely see him drop a ball.
Wildcats set to kick this one off. 5:44 in the second quarter. It only took one play on that drive. Not a lot of time for the UNH defense to rest. But with a 21-point lead, I'm sure they can muster up some energy to get back on the field.
Morgan Ellman's going to have a sore leg after this game.
That's right. As he sends that one down to Claudio, lets it bounce once, it picks it up at the 5-yard line. Has some speed, brings it up to the 25, bounces to the outside. He's at the 30, and he's going to get hit out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Good run there by Claudio. Good protection and blocking by the Bulldogs as well.
Claudio appears to be limping after the play. Let's hope that he can get back in the game.
The Wildcat defense has been strong all night long with that early interception on the first drive. Only let up 10 points.
I see number 71, Ryan Sosnak, has made his way back out onto the field also. Good that he's not hurt.
One of the vocal leaders on the defensive unit for the Wildcats. Here comes Bryce Wilson. Try to do anything he can to get some points on the board before halftime. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. 2 men split out to the left. 1 man to the right. Wilson goes to throw. And again, another overthrow as the intended receiver, Tom Kennedy, had a step on his guy, but Wilson just threw it too far in front and too far above.
This UNH secondary is doing a great job of blocking out the first reads in his progression. He's having to wait a little while and make the throws that he doesn't really plan on.
Same formation, 2 men split out to the left, 1 to the right. And they're going to use a little flea flicker as McIntyre's going to get the ball. He's got 1 man left to beat. Can he do it? No, he's going to get pushed out of bounds. Good play there by the defensive captain, DeAndre Drummond-Main, to come in and push McIntyre out of bounds. But that's going to be a huge gain for the Bulldogs as they handed off to McIntyre originally, flipped it back to Kennedy, who flipped it back to Wilson, who was able to have a nice touch pass. And now Bryant wasting no time on the 20-yard line. They cause a flag on the play as they rush to the yard of scrimmage, but that's a play that the Bulldogs desperately needed. Flag on the offense. 5-yard penalty. So will be 1st down from the 25-yard line. 2 men split out to the right, 1 man to the left. And they're going to hand it off to number 30, Brandon Famanio, 6-foot junior. Quinlan Dean able to wrap him up.
I think this Bulldogs team is going to have to monitor the carries by McCray and the plays because he looks like he's already tired, and he's been the key to their offensive progression this game.
Wilson drops back to throw. Another overthrow intended for Tom Kennedy. That's going to bring about 3rd and 12 from the 22-yard line. I don't know what it is, but Bryce Wilson is really struggling with these throws to the flat.
That one was just a miscue there. He really wasn't pressured by the D-line at all. I think he just overthrew him.
.4:19 remaining. A testy 3rd and 12 for the Bryant Bulldogs.
Number 43, fullback Jake Wiswall in the backfield.
Wiswall splits out to the right in motion. UNH is going to blitz. Bryce Wilson barely gets the throw off. Gets it off to number 80, Alex Ramusin, who's going to get it to the 11-yard line, but it's not going to be enough for the 1st down, but they're going to keep the offense on the field. 4th and 1 for the Bulldogs.
McCray coming back into the game.
Some late substitutions for the Wildcats. McCray back in the game. Two receivers split out to the left, one to the right. This would be a huge stop for the Wildcat defense. 4th and 1 from the 11. Timeout on the field. Timeout, Bryant. They're going to talk this one over. I respect the move going for it on 4th down 31-10. You really need to get a spark for the rest of the second half, or the rest of the first half and the entire second half. And with 3:39 left, UNH is going to get the football back eventually. And you don't want them with a 21-point lead to get the ball back now and get the ball back right at halftime.
Yeah, if you're Bryant, you really need a touchdown here. You can't settle for 3 points going into halftime. Still an 18-point deficit there. That's 3 scores.
Bryant's been in a couple shootouts this year, but the offense not clicking here tonight, Wildcat Stadium. The offense is clicking for the Wildcats as they've scored 31 points in the first half so far. Still 3 minutes remaining. 4th and 1 for Bryant. This could be a huge measuring stick for the rest of the game, confidence and momentum-wise. Kennedy in motion goes right back to the left. They're going to hand it off to McCray, and he's going to bounce. And that's good enough for the first down, and the gamble pays off. The 3-yard run is good enough for the first down. It's going to be 1st and goal from the Wildcat 8-yard line. Good play call there by the Bulldogs.
I think that's a dangerous play call there, calling the counter when you're on 4th and 1, and this defensive line has had no problem making their way in the backfield. But obviously McCray is skilled enough to make the play and get to the outside for the first down.
2 men split out to the left. Gene Constant, the lone receiver to the right. Wilson's going to keep this one on a keeper, but he's brought down for a gain of 1, which will bring up 2nd and goal from the 7-yard line.
This UNH defense sees that read option pretty much every day in practice, so I think they're going to be able to defend that with ease.
Trip spread out to the left. 1 man on the right. Here's Wilson. Gets the throw off to McCray. Bounces around to the left. Gets tackled, and he finds his way down to the 1-yard line. So it's going to be 3rd and goal from the 1 after a nice effort there by Isaac McCray, the 5'11 freshman. New unit for the Bulldogs. 4 new players substituted before the snap.
I don't see a QB on the field here. It looks like they're going with the Wildcat again.
Number 3, Devin Ray, the backup quarterback, enters the game for the Bulldogs. He's alone in the backfield, bunch formation on the line. 1 man comes in motion. They're going to have a jet sweep. That's going to be knocked down for a loss. Number 96, Robbie Schumacher and Quinlan Dean come in and just blow up the jet sweep there by Bryant. Now it's going to be 4th and goal from the 8-yard line.
Yeah, I think UNH was expecting the run there, and they were able to stop that play easily.
With the backup quarterback and only 1 man in the backfield and everyone else on the line of scrimmage, you have to expect to run. Bryant's been running the jet sweep often this game, and they're going to have to settle for another field goal try by Gavin Rowley. This one just a chip shot, but he misses it to the left. The chip shot is no good, and the tackle for loss proves to be that much more important as the Bryant Bulldogs come away from the 3rd and goal situation with no points. It is still 31-10. UNH handily in favor.
54 seconds on the clock until halftime. UNH clearly has the firepower to score here, but I think they might just run it and take the team into the locker room up 21 at the half.
They get the ball back at halftime, so like Leg said, there's really no rush to score, already up 21. But knowing Coach Mack, knowing Trevor Knight, knowing these offensive guys, if you tell them to slow down, they won't listen to you. So won't be surprised if we see some fireworks here with 54 seconds left in the half. It's going to be first down from the 20-yard line. 3 men spread out to the right. O'Connor, the only man to the left. Trevor Knight drops back, finds O'Connor. Ball gets batted in the air, and that's an interception. The Bryant Bulldogs are going to get the ball back. The ball was batted at the line of scrimmage, and number 8 for the Bulldogs, Zach Williams, able to bobble it around. And now the Bulldogs, with 44 seconds left, are going to get another shot at it. An unfortunate bounce for Trevor Knight there. As we said earlier, the ball seems to be hanging in the air after getting swatted by the defensive line. That one hung in the air and traveled about 25 yards right into the hands of Williams.
Really unlucky play for these Wildcats. They couldn't have really done anything to avoid that. Let's see what Bryant does with 44 seconds left on the clock and 52 yards to the end zone.
Bryce Wilson back on the field as QB. 2 men spread out to the left, 2 men spread out to the right for the Bulldogs. He fires it across. He has a man wide open, and that's consent.
I think number 54, Quinlan Dean, there was focusing on McCray a little too much. Left his zone in the middle for a second.
Bryant with no timeouts goes the hurry up. Wilson throws a fade, and that's completed. And with 25 seconds left, they can't stop the clock. They got to hurry to the line of scrimmage. Bryce Wilson with a beautiful throw. 23 seconds left. They're going to just spike it. The ball was completed to Alex Rasmussen for 27 yards. And now the Wildcats are defending on their own 13-yard line. And just like that, Bryant's right back in the red zone. 21 seconds left. It's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 13. 2 men spread out to the left, 2 to the right. It's McCray and Wilson in the backfield. This would be a big touchdown before the halftime if Bryant can convert, especially after the missed field goal just moments ago. UNH brings pressure. Wilson has time to throw, has a man. That's an easy touchdown for the Bulldogs. Bryce Wilson able to avoid the pressure and complete the easy touchdown on the slant route. Can't see which Bulldog receiver it was. That makes it 31-16, and the costly turnover and interception by Trevor Knight proves to be very detrimental as they let up 6 points just 4 plays later. There's a roughing the passer flag. Obviously, that's going to be wiped out. And here comes Rowley to give it another try from this end. 16 seconds remaining. UNH seems like they're going to be bringing the house. They were aggressive on it, but the kick is up and good and over the student section, which makes it 31-17. And just like that, the Bulldogs are not saying die.
It looked like the UNH defense wasn't expecting to come back out on the field there. They were a little lackluster on that short drive.
Definitely not the Wildcat defense that we'd seen early on in the game. And with 16 seconds, that could be not enough time. Even though this Wildcat offense is high-powered, that might not be enough time for Trevor Knight to work with.
Good job by Wilson on that drive. He had a couple amazing throws. Seemed like he was getting a little too attached to McCray there. They were going to him almost every other play, so good for their offense to get it moving around to other guys and spread out this defense.
Turner and Goodrich back to receive. Gavin Rowley, because of the roughing the passer, is going to kick off from the 50-yard line, so you have to expect either an onside kick here or maybe just a touchback. Bryant's touchdown was caught by Aaron R.A. 4-play, 52-yard scoring drive. And Rowley's just going to send it to the back of the end zone, and the Wildcats will resume their offense at the 20-yard line.
I'm assuming we'll see Trevor Knight take a knee here and bring the team into the locker room. Coming out of halftime, if Bryant makes a stop, they're certainly in this game.
Yeah, they're right back in it. Flag on the field. We'll see what that is. Head referee Warren Giles. Another offsides on the kicking team. We were saying how rare it is, but we've seen 2 already today. Both teams falling victim of it. And in the 30-yard line, looks like Trevor Knight's just going to take a knee and send it to the locker room. At the end of the first half, it's UNH 31, Bryant 17. Sam Rogers, Joe Goodrich, brought to you by UNH. We'll see you after the half. Hello and welcome back to Wildcat Stadium. Sam Rogers and Joe Goodrich here as the Bryant Bulldogs and the UNH Wildcats are set to kick off for the start of the second half. UNH leads Bryant 31-17, and the Wildcats will receive the second half kickoff. Here's CJ Turner, received it at the 12-yard line. Has a hole, he's going to keep going. And a good tackle. Looks like the kicker, Gavin Rowley, was in on the play. That's going to advance the ball all the way up to the 37-yard line. Legs, we watched these teams play in the first half. Both offenses really went up and down. UNH offense coming out of the locker room, gets the ball first. What do you think Trevor Knight and his receiving core and the whole offense in general need to do better in the second half?
I really think they need to stick what was working in the first half, which was a lot of shots downfield and handing off the ball to Evan Gray in the meantime. Trevor Knight steps back, hits Rory Donovan on the pass for a gain of 10.
Rory Donovan kind of been quiet so far tonight. That was his third grab. He's only had about 31 yards receiving. O'Connor and Gallagher, the receivers to the left, CJ Turner and Rory Donovan to the right, Evan Gray and Trevor Knight in the backfield, and they just hand it off to Evan Gray, and Evan Gray is going to do what he's been doing all night long and just pound the ball down the middle, right down the heart of Bryant's defense, and that's going to be a gain of 8. 2nd and 2 from the 43-yard line of the Bulldogs. Evan Gray just a few yards away from near the 100 mark. Trevor Knight takes snap, has all the time in the world to throw. He's going deep to Rory Donovan, who has to step on his man. The ball was underthrown, and that's going to fall incomplete. Trevor Knight had Donovan if he aired it out a little bit more or gave his big 6'5" receiver a chance to high point it, but the ball was thrown too far.
Coach McDonald was looking for a pass interference there. He might have been able to draw it, but I think the ball was a little bit uncatchable there.
Coach Mack was still giving the ref his point of view. O'Connor and Gallagher again to the left, Turner and Donovan to the right, Gray in the backfield. They handed off to Gray, and Bryant was all over it. A host of Bryant defenders just ate up Evan Gray, and that's going to be about a loss of 3. And after a brief glimpse of positive offensive production, the Wildcats are forced to punt, and Max Pendoff sent on the field to send the punt away.
That was a perfect jump by number 32, Thomas Costigan, the junior linebacker for Bryant, to get in the backfield and wrap up Gray before he could do any damage.
Gene Constant set back for Bryant to take the punt. He stands at the 10-yard line, calls for a fair catch, receives it cleanly, and the Bulldogs will start their second half from the 12.
That's definitely how Bryant wanted to come out, stopping UNH before putting any more points on the board, especially since they were able to score right before halftime.
Bryant trailing 31-17, able to sneak a touchdown in after a bizarre interception. And with 16 seconds left, the Bulldogs had their own glimpse of good luck as they put up their 17th points of the evening. Bryce Wilson struggled in the first half, went 21-35, 212 yards, touchdown and an interception. He hands the ball off to Isaac McCray on his 7th carry of the night, no gain. Brings up 2nd and 10 from the 13.
If the Bryant offense wants to do any damage, they need to start developing some consistency other than Isaac McCray, because the defense is expecting the ball to go to him every single play.
McCray has 3 catches for 70 yards and 7 rushes for 36 yards. Been the guy to go to for the Bulldogs all night. 2 men split out to the left. McCray in the backfield for Bryce Wilson. Wilson's been struggling with the consistency of he throws. Barely gets the play off in time. The play clock was running down. Has a man wide open, and that's a good throw on Wilson's part. Just a bad play there by the receiver. Goes right and in and out of the hands of the wide open big receiver number 86, Aaron Are, who caught that 6-yard slant touchdown at the end of the first half. Wilson's been underthrowing and overthrowing a lot of his receivers on those throws, but that one's all on the fault of the receiver. That's a catch you have to make. That brings up 3rd and 10 from the 13. It'd be a great stop for the Wildcats. They can get Trevor Knight and the offense the ball back right away. Trips spread out to the left. McCray in the backfield. Wilson has time to throw. Over. He just throws the ball completely behind Tom Kennedy, and the punching units are back on the field for the Bulldogs and the Wildcats.
The hit on Wilson there was by number 72, Rick Holt of the defensive line for the Wildcats. Again, good to see that pressure coming out of halftime. This defense is very well rested right now, and they're really going to keep the pressure on that QB.
Fair catch there by Evan Holt as the Wildcats will begin their second drive of the half from Bryant's 47-yard line, excuse me. Media timeout on the field. We'll be right back as the Wildcats look to get the first points of the second half. And we are back at Wildcat Stadium as the UNH Wildcats set to begin their second drive of the second half. Trevor Knight takes a snap from the 47-yard line, rolls to his right, has nowhere to throw, so he's just going to use his athleticism, use his legs. He bounces around, still up, and that's going to be a long run for a gain of 6, which will bring up 2nd and 4 from the 42-yard line. Trevor Knight is just so good at extending the plays when nothing's on downfield. He has great vision and just great feet and great awareness to always continue the play and always try to get positive yardage for the team.
Sometimes you got to wish your QB to step outside there, but Trevor Knight's such an athlete, and he knows that he loves making plays like that and running around.
O'Connor and Donovan spread out to the left, but Trevor Knight's going to hand the ball off to Darwin Goodrich, who fights for a couple yards, bringing up a 3rd and 2 from the Bulldog 39-yard line. UNH offense really can't have back-to-back drives with 3 and outs, as this game is still very much competitive. Had to make it to the blowout early. Wildcats up 17-0 in the first quarter, but a 10-0 run for the Bulldogs made it a one-possession game, and now we stand at 31-17. Trevor Knight alone in the backfield. Trips to his right. 2 men spread out to his left. Good throw in a tight window for Trevor Knight. He finds Rory Donovan, who muscles his way down to the 20-yard line. And a good third down call there by Coach Mack as the Wildcats enter the red zone again.
I'm liking how Trevor's finding Rory Donovan more because this year he's kind of been low on the reception numbers. He's been around 4 or 3 for most of his games. I believe he's got about 5 right now in this game.
That was his 4th grab, which is right around the season average per game, 50 yards. That was his longest reception of the game at 18 yards. 1-on-1 coverage here for the Wildcats. Neil O'Connor was definitely toyed with on that play, but Trevor Knight keeps the play alive, has O'Connor in the end zone, and that goes right through his hands. Neil O'Connor with an all-around-the-world route there. He tried to make a move to the outside, got held up, but Trevor Knight was able to keep the play alive in the pocket, and Neil O'Connor just couldn't come down with that grab.
Really surprised they didn't throw a flag there. That looked like a lot of contact on O'Connor by the defender of Bryant.
I thought for sure there was going to be some laundry on the field after all that contact between O'Connor and his defensive back. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10 from the 21-yard line. O'Connor comes in motion. Trevor Knight's going to go play action pass. Surveys downfield, fires deep to the end zone, has a man in and out of the hands of O'Connor again. We've mentioned how good Neil's hands are, and that's 2 passes back-to-back that he definitely should have made a play on, and he knows it. As in frustration, he bangs his hand on the new Wildcat Stadium turf. And now a testy 3rd and 10. This drive started off well with that big 18-yard reception for Donovan and that stunt the past 3 plays. 2 men out spread to the left. It's O'Connor and Donovan and Gallagher to the right. Trevor Knight has time. Blitz coming. Gets the throw off. And he had a man, but just put it too far ahead of him. O'Connor was open again in the end zone. But with all the pressure coming from the blitzing Bulldogs, Trevor Knight had to force the ball out.
Good job by Connor getting open there. He had 3 men blanketing him in coverage, but still managed to find the back of the end zone. Trevor Knight just couldn't put it where he wanted it.
Morgan Ellman set for the field goal attempt. Ball is placed on the right hash. Snap is good. Hold is good. Kicks up. It is low. A line drive goes too short. It was under the crossbar. Very rare to see as a field goal kicker. The score remains 31-17, and Bryant's going to get the ball back at their own 21-yard line.
This is a little different than what we saw in the first half. It looked like no one could make a stop in the first half, and now the defenses are really prevailing.
Immediate timeout on the field. With 31-17 as the score, I think now is kind of the time to attack as Bryant. If you kind of take your time and waste the clock and let UNH continue to have the ball in their hands, I mean, their past couple of drives have been very sloppy, very stagnant. But we know that this Wildcat offense has the playmakers and has the big-time plays in their repertoire to really blow games open. So if you're James Perry, if you're quarterback Bryce Wilson, I think this is the drive to really start taking some chances and having some shots downfield and really being aggressive.
Looks like Trevor Knight's on the trainer's table being treated for a cramp of some sort in his leg.
He gets up from the table, seems to be okay.
Thought we were going to make it into the depth chart a little and see some new faces out here, but this game seems to be closer than everyone thought it would be.
Bryant, especially if you look at Bryant's last games against CAA opponents, they lost to Maine 60-12. It was absolutely blown out by the Black Bears a week after Maine had the heartbreaking loss here at Wildcat Stadium for the home opener of the 2017 football season. And I think everyone, maybe even the players especially, expected to come in here and walk all over the Bulldogs. And they showed some signs of that early on, but the Dogs are fighting back. as they have a chance to make it a 2 or 1 possession game if they score a touchdown on this drive with 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
They need 2 touchdowns, but you don't know how many of those trick plays they have in their playbook. I think they're running out at this point. They got to start going back to the regular game and handing it off to McCray.
Bryant offense back on the field. 2 receivers split out to the right, 1 to the left. Wilson's going to fire in the flat. He has Kennedy. Kennedy makes a couple men miss and brings the ball up to the 29-yard line, bringing up a 2nd and 1. Good first play call. Trevor Knight was still being evaluated on the Wildcat sidelines. Seems to be okay. 2 receivers split out to the left, 1 to the right for Wilson. McCray in the backfield. 15 seconds on the play clock. 9:27 on the game clock. 2nd and 2 from their own 29-yard line. He takes a snap. Play action. McCray is going to go downfield. Has a man. That is caught. Brought down at the 40-yard line. Number 86. Aaron Irie comes down with another big grab. Had the touchdown before halftime. And that's a 31-yard completion. And the Bulldogs are in Wildcat territory at the UNH 40-yard line. Can't count out this Bulldog team yet. 2 receivers split to the right, 1 to the left. They hand it off to McCray. Wildcat defensive line all over him as he's only going to get 2 yards on that gain, which will bring up 2nd and 8 from the 38. Wildcat's secondary legs has really been questionable these past couple of drives.
Yeah, I know. Bryant's really spreading the ball out to anyone who's out there. And I think that the defense is focusing a little too much on McCray, worrying about him getting the ball and doing a sweep or even him receiving the ball. But Wilson's able to find whoever he has out there for a gain.
2 receivers to the left, 2 receivers to the right. Bryce Wilson on the 2nd and 8 drive. He got wrapped up in the backfield. Quinlan Dean, who's been back there all game long, gets his hands on Wilson's shoulder, so Wilson has to throw the ball away, which brings up a big 3rd and 8 for the Bulldogs. And this would be a huge stop for the Wildcat defense to get off the field and let Trevor Knight try to get some more points to get some insurance. Trips to the right, single man to the left. Wilson pumps it, goes with a screen pass to Constant. He is smothered. Quinlan Dean again there to make the tackle. That's going to bring up 4th and 7. No chance the punting unit or field goal units coming on for the Bulldogs are going to keep the offense on. This could be a huge play for the rest of the game in terms of momentum and in terms of just simple tactics. Trip spread out to the left. Single coverage here on the right side. Ball's out the right hash. Kennedy comes in motion along the right. Wilson gets the snap. Has time to throw. Has him in. He had Kennedy wide open for an easy first down, and the ball was thrown too far behind him. He got a hand on it. We'll see the replay, see if that was a bad throw or Kennedy just couldn't come down with it. He just missed him. Kennedy was all alone on the slant route. If that ball was put in front of him, that's going to be a catch and run for at least 15 yards and get the ball inside the red zone for the Bulldogs. Instead, the ball comes to the Wildcats with a 31-17 lead. And with 7 minutes in the third quarter, a touchdown here could really put Bryant in a hole, down 3 scores potentially.
Kennedy's listed here at 5'11", but I'm guessing he's probably a little smaller than that, the way he's playing out on the field. Does not look like he's up to the size of the Wildcats secondary.
Another media timeout. Daryl Colville, winner of the 50-50 raffle here at Wildcat Stadium. Good for Daryl. Have you ever won a raffle before?
Not a big one. Maybe one with like 10 tickets in it, but
Hey,
nothing
win's a win,
huge.
like you know that. A win is a win.
Oh yeah, dance marathon last year.
You want to?
Won a T-shirt.
Wow, Joe Goodrich at UNH's dance marathon. Big raffle winner there.
I'm really surprised Wilson for Bryant hasn't been able to find that receiver Avery more. He seems to be their biggest option out there, and he's got hands, definitely.
Big frame, definitely has strong hands. He showed examples of that with his latest grab, the 31-yard reception, and also his touchdown in the first half. Well, you're right. He's only been targeted 3 times, but has 53 yards receiving. Wilson Price, man, they love to throw the ball, this Bryant offense. 24 of 42 so far, 252 yards. And on the flip side, Trevor Knight, 7 of 18 for 177 yards. And a sloppy first drive for the Wildcats can be erased from everyone's memory with a successful one here as the Wildcats are set to go. 1st and 10 from their own 37-yard line. 2 receivers split out to the left, 2 to the right. Trevor Knight and Evan Gray in the backfield. The Wildcats moving from right to left across your screen. Trevor Knight stands in the pocket, bounce out to the outside. Any question of his legs being cramped up is erased as he just scrambles for a gain of 5. They're gonna give him only 4 yards on the game, so it'll be 2nd and 6 from the 41-yard line. Justin Malone Woods checked in as a tight end on the left side. 3 receivers to the right, Evan Gray in the backfield with Knight. Knight fires quickly, has a man, good throw and a tight window to C.J. Turner. That's good for a first down as Wildcats move the ball to the 49-yard line.
I'm watching this matchup that was on the opposite side of the field. Rory Donovan on number 4, Torrey Dixon of Bryant. I'm expecting a big play out of Donovan here.
2 receivers on either side of the line. They're going to hand the ball off to Evan Gray, who fights his way for a gain of 4, which will bring up 2nd down and 6 for the Wildcats as they move into Bryant territory. O'Connor and Turner are spread out to the left. Donovan to the right. Malone Woods as the tight end. Evan Gray in the backfield. Trevor Knight gets the handoff and will take it and give it to Evan Gray, who has another tough run. That wasn't Evan Gray. Excuse me. Evan Gray's coming on the field now. That was Chapman, the freshman, picking up 3 yards, bringing up 3rd down and 3 for the Wildcats from the 44-yard line. It's Turner and Malone Woods on the left, joined by Donovan to form trips. Neil O'Connor, the single receiver, has one-on-one coverage on the right side. All these defenders are playing one-on-one coverage. Trevor Knight finds O'Connor, has him in a slant route, makes a move, fighting for extra yards, and he'll roll down to the 28-yard line. That's a big first down grab for O'Connor. The last 2 balls thrown at him were dropped, and he has a strong reception there to extend the drive. 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, Evan Gray and Knight in the backfield. Knight drops back, flips it off there to Brendan Gallagher, who runs for the first down as he's knocked out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. Brendan Gallagher getting his first grab of the day.
Surprised Knight didn't find Donovan there. He was open about 20 yards down the field, but decided to go with the shorter route.
2nd and 1.
John DiCarlo, number 98, the big tight end, checking in. 2 receivers to the left, Carlo and Gray in the backfield. Knight's going to hand out to Gray, bounce to the right side, but that was read very well there by the Bryant defense. Number 32, Thomas Castignan, makes the play. And that'll bring up 3rd and 1 from the 19.
Haven't really seen the same efficiency out of Evan Gray this drive that he was performing to the rest of the game.
Evan Gray needs 5 yards to break the 100-yard milestone for today's game. Two receivers split up to the left. Trevor Knight has time to throw, but he's going to get blitzed and sacked and dropped for a loss of about 9 yards as the Wildcats now have to face a 4th and 11 from the 31-yard line. Worst case scenario there for Coach Mack and the offense, and they're going to keep the offense on the field as they're going to go for it. 4th and 11 from the 29. Woods and Donovan and Gallagher trips to the left. O'Connor, 101 coverage on the right side. If I'm Trevor Knight, I'm looking at Neil O'Connor. Donald Goodrich, the lone backer. Bryant's going to bring some pressure. That might be offsides on the defense.
Looks like it's a false start, actually, on the offense. The Wildcats are going to get knocked back another 5.
Good move there by the Bulldogs, applying pressure. Too much pressure for the Wildcats to handle. Number 66, Dane Herron, 6'4" junior left tackle, a victim of that offsides or false start infraction.
Looks like Coach McDonald and the Wildcats are going with the punt formation now, trying to pin the Bulldogs deep in their own end zone.
Number 93, Max Pendoff, set to kick off from his own 47-yard line. Gene Constant at the 10, set to receive. UNH on purpose takes the 5-yard delay game penalty to give Pendoff some extra room, as now he will be kicking from the 50-yard line as opposed to the 45. 2:43 remaining in the third quarter, 31-17. The Wildcats on top. It's been a very lackluster quarter. No points scored. No offense is really seeming to click. It's been a few 3-and-outs. Pendoff waits for the snap. He gets it. Lets it fly from the 50. Decent hang time. It's going to bounce and take a Wildcat spin control hop right at the 7-yard line. And that's where Price Wilson and the Bulldogs are going to have to begin their drive. Still down by 14. The Bulldogs have not been threatening so far this quarter. And they'd have to go 93 yards to score here, which would be a big-time momentum shift in terms of Bryant.
This second half, we haven't seen much of McCray out of the Bulldogs. They've elected to go with number 30, Brian Femiano, instead.
That's who gets the first snap of this drive. He's knocked for a loss of 2. Now Bryant playing with dangerous territory here. They're going to have the next snap from their own 5-yard line. It's going to be 2nd and 12 from the 5. 2 receivers split out to the left, 1 to the right. Stephen Harper and Price Wilson in the backfield. Wouldn't be a surprise if UNH brings some pressure in hopes of a safety. Wilson gets a snap. Play action. Throws it downfield, and another grab by the guy we were just talking about, Aaron Irie, showing off the athleticism and the strong hands as he's able to make that completion and move the chains and get the Bulldogs away from their own end zone. 29-yard reception.
It's a great play call there and a great job by Wilson staying composed and calm in the pocket, even though he was in his own end zone.
Here's Wilson. Little shovel pass up the middle, and that's Harper. Slides for a gain of 5. Bringing up 2nd and 5. Bulldog offense has found a new tempo. They are moving down the field here. 1 minute left in the quarter. 2nd and 5 from their own 39. Screen pass to Kennedy. Handles it. There's a flag thrown. It was good enough to get the first down. Got the ball over to the 45-yard line.
it's going to be a hold on Bryant. One of their receivers was grabbing a little too much of the jersey.
Offense. Number 82.
Holding there on number 82,
Second down.
Ken Blasso, tight end. Repeat, second down is going to be 2nd and 15. All the way back at the Bulldog 32-yard line. Stack formation on the right side with 2 receivers. And the same formation we saw with the big screen play as the offensive line is split on the 2 hash marks and see if they run the same play. They don't. They throw to the outside. Wilson has a man just outside of the reach for Tom Kennedy.
We're seeing a little bit of everything out of Bryant. They're doing a little play action, some sweeps, throwing the ball downfield. I think they're really trying to confuse this UNH defense and especially get those pass rushers away from Wilson.
A big 3rd and 12 here for the Bulldogs. 39 seconds remaining in the quarter. Ball still on their own 32-yard line. 2 receivers to the left, 1 receiver close to the line on the right side. UNH showing blitz. They do. They chase Wilson out of the pocket. Quinlan Dean almost makes a play on him. The pass is completed to Constant, but it's still about 3 yards short, bringing up 4th down. James Perry looks like they're going to go for it. 30 seconds left in the quarter. Clock still running. 4th and 4. 2 receivers split to the left, 2 to the right. This could be the biggest defensive stop of the game for the Wildcats. 2 backs in the backfield along with Wilson. He looks over the bench for last-second adjustments. 10 seconds on the play clock, 10 seconds on the game clock. Wilson has time to throw. Ball gets battered, and that's going to be a turnover on downs. The Wildcats, as the 3rd quarter almost comes to a close, get another big 4th down stop, and they'll take the ball at their Bulldogs' 40-yard line. And great field position for this offense to really put the nail in the coffin.
Great play by Ryan Sosnak there at D-tackle, getting his arm way up above the offensive lineman to block that pass down.
Now Trevor Knight and his offense, they've been very lackluster and stagnant early on. But with good field position and with only 1 quarter remaining to play, you got to think a score here could put the game out of reach, barring anything crazy. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, stacked backfield. CJ Turner gets the handoff with some room to run, gets to the 30. He gets pushed out of bounds at the 30-yard line for a 10-yard gain, and that's going to take us to the end of the 3rd quarter with the Wildcats up 31-17 here at Wildcat Stadium.